What up, y'all? I'm Steve, and today we have another amazing Elev8 with Glass by Blake. Holy mackerels, man. If you haven't seen his flowers, out of this world. It's just attention to detail. They're different and they're amazing. Real quick, I do want to mention, we are looking for help. We need some help, and we have this cool program called Elev8. It's a brand ambassador program. We also have this real cool thing called Elev8 Veterans. It's our 501c3. It's a great thing. Check us out. Anyways, let's go hang out with Glass by Blake. All right, y'all. So we're really excited to have Glass by Blake here, and welcome, Blake. How you doing today?
Good, doing good. Thanks for having me.
It's a real pleasure, man. I remember the first time I got to meet you. You came down for Elev8 Veterans, and I was just blown away by your flowers, and I had never seen the bubble implosion until you. And so thanks.
It's fun. It's a fun technique.
Yeah, and you've really mastered it, man. Like it's out of the world amazing.
It's mainly what I do. It's all I have been doing for the last 5 years, and I love doing it. And there's a lot more that I could still explore with it. So Lord only knows where it'll take me.
Well, I'm excited to see where it goes. So my first question is, how did you get started into glass blowing?
That's a long story. So like when I was like 17, 18, I started buying glass when I lived in Mobile, Alabama. And like never for us, it was purely out of like love for the art. Like I was like, this stuff's really cool. And like I had spent a couple $100, few $100 on a piece. And I had moved out to Colorado, and a buddy of mine who sold it to me called me and was like, hey man, I'll pay you like almost like 10 times worth. And I was like, whoa, and this is back in 2013 or 2014, right as 2014 hit. And I was like, what? And so then I started looking into it, and I was like, well, there's, this is a market that's exploding right now, and it's kind of fun to watch, especially, being an 18-year-old kid. And so I started buying a bunch of pieces. At this point I was living in like Grand Junction in Colorado Springs, and was just finding a couple like random local artists and just buying different things. And then I started up a gallery when I was in Colorado Springs. It was Heady Mountain. And I did that when I was like 19 to 20. And, you're a 20-year-old kid running a business. I didn't really know what I was doing. So like I ended up losing a good bit of money to a landlord.
I don't think anybody knows how to run a business. So,
yeah.
I got to say, man, you got big balls to do that at 19. That's very awesome.
It was fun, and I learned a lot. There was an incredible amount, and granted it was a failure, but I tend to learn more from failures than I do from successes sometimes. And so at that point, like I was, had lost some money. The shop had closed down, and my best friends at that point were all glass blowers. And so I was just hanging out, and they're like, well, if you're bored, we got an extra torch. And then, purely as a hobby, just bored a couple times. And after a couple months, I was like, yo, I'll give you some money for this. And I was like, wait, what? Like, didn't think money was ever going to come from that. Like that was purely just a hobby. I was just making pieces for like my girlfriend and like random things. Like it wasn't, just small pendants.
Yeah.
And then, and at the point I didn't have a gallery. And so I was like, well, maybe I can look into this. Like I thoroughly love blowing glass. Like, I was just doing this for fun. If people want to pay me, that's great. And I was just making random pendants and stuff like that. And then kind of fell into the sunflower about 6 months in. My girlfriend at the time, that was her favorite flower. And I was like, let's see if I can make one of these. And they were bad at first. And then they just kind of, slowly evolved. And we're not together anymore, but like we're still friends. And I'm very thankful, that she was the inspiration for the sunflower, because now it's a income and a source of joy and many things for me. Like it's a fun time. I appreciate where I'm at today, and it's a crazy story how I've gotten here, but.
Well, I love hearing it, man. And I'm sure anybody that has got your artwork, probably is wondering the same thing. How'd you get started? So
And we're about 5 years in now. We just hit the 5-year mark in January.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. And I love doing what I do, man. I couldn't be more fortunate to wake up in the morning and just do what I love every day. It's a wonderful thing. So
hell yeah. So yeah, you've been 5 years is how long you've been there. And you started out with pendants. Do you still have the first item that you blew?
Somewhere. It was a pendant and I would wear it. And I was in class in college and like I had it on my neck, leaned forward and it smacked the table and popped off the bail. So I still have it, but it's not intact and not wearable anymore. I just have it stashed away in some bubble wrap in a box somewhere.
That's good to hear you kept it,
Yeah, it was sad, but
yeah. So you probably didn't weld the bell on. It was just a tack weld or something.
Yeah, it was purely a little cold seal or something like that.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea. I was, first time.
Yeah, you don't know. And the good thing is though, your first time you were actually able to make a bail because those are difficult. Like
they are. It didn't look great. Don't get me wrong. But thankfully, I had some friends that have throughout the years just taught me just been able to, hey man, I don't know how to make a bail. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm sure somebody was like, gave me some sort of pointers. Like,
yeah.
I've been very fortunate with that over the years.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Did you have a mentor when you first started blowing, or do you still have one? Or
so when I first started blowing, it was with, like Pop D Glass Art and like Tyler P down in the Springs. And like they taught me the ropes and all that kind of stuff and, all the basics and just how to genuinely blow glass. And then once I kind of figured out what I wanted to do, Ryan Kuhn was one of my good buddies and I had collected some of his work. He does like really, really awesome like dot pendants. And then he also does flowers and stuff like that too. And I was making these like mountain scenes and I was like, I want to make them more intense. How do I, do a dot pendant and that kind of stuff? And he was like, well, you should learn how to make a flower first. And so I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'll make a flower and here we are 5 years later. I did the dot thing, but flowers are definitely more of the thing.
I'm a flower guy too, there's something about that. It's like a mushroom. It grows in there. You put the petals in there.
You just watch it grow. And that's, when somebody's watching you blow glass and you're like, hey, you want to like watch a flower like grow real quick? And they're like, what? And it's like, just watch.
It's like magic. It really is.
It is. It just comes together and you're like, whoa, that all came from that?
Yeah, it's really neat.
It's fun.
What classes have you taken, if any?
Oh, genuine classes? Probably none, to be honest. That's one of the things where I've been crazy fortunate. Like I lived in Evergreen for 2 years and all those guys helped me out with a bunch of different things. I worked next to some of the most talented glass blowers in the game for, like a year at a time. So it's just like,
wow.
Any question, that alone was a class, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
just being able to sit and take all that in was a blessing, as it was. And so, it's been nice. I moved to Boulder after doing that and just being able to take those skills and put them into play and that kind of stuff, just cause I learned so much. Like don't get me wrong. I can't do everything in glass at all, but I know how to do most things because of hanging out with all those people, or at least have a genuine idea.
Right. So you could go in there and come up with an idea that you needed, a technique, and you would know the foundation. And
yeah, absolutely.
Take you 4, 10 times, but you would get through it because you know.
Yeah, for sure. Might not be perfect the first time, but like I might at least probably get the piece done. There's way better ways that, it's like, okay, I need to do this way now. But, thankfully to them, I can at least get from, point A to point B. Did
you find it was really hard getting into a studio with such talent? And then, I'm assuming you had maybe a year 2 years under your belt. So
I was at about 2 years. It was hard. It was extremely humbling. I mean, that's one of those things, because like you come in, you're like, oh, I'm doing this experience, like I'm obviously here for a reason. And you get there and you're like, I don't know anything, in comparison. And so it's just like, I know what I know, but like watching these guys, it's nothing, you know what I'm saying? And so like, I just kind of, and it was one of those things where you just got, you have to step back and be like, yo, like, this isn't going to be work. This is going to be kind of learn as opposed, you know what I'm saying? Which is not what I had expected it to be, but like when it came down to it, incredible. You know what I'm saying? Like I loved every bit of it. And like, I'd love to still be up there. It's a beautiful place, but like me being young, living in Evergreen was kind of boring.
Yeah. It's a small little beautiful town.
Yeah. And and it's
for old
like
people.
Yes, exactly. Once you hit like 40,
yeah,
or like maybe 50, your kids go to college or something like that. It's a perfect time. Right?
You just put me in the old category. Thank you.
No, I mean, it's not even that. Like once your kids go to college, it's a perfect time to move to Evergreen, no matter how old you are.
Yeah.
Right. So, and 40 isn't old, but like,
no.
I feel like I would say 40, but most people still have younger kids at that age. And I just, if I'm a kid, I'd like to be around some kids. Like,
no doubt, man.
I hung out with deer more than I did with people out there.
So moving to Boulder was probably great. There's a, young generation there.
Exactly. It's been beautiful. Love Boulder. It's changed a lot with the pandemic, like everywhere has, so I can't complain too much, but like it's a beautiful city. There's a bunch of beautiful people, huge art scene of all kinds, which is nice. And there's just, an array of different glass artists that I didn't really know, I never wrote this way once, I used to way back in the day, but artists kind of cycle out. And so like, it's nice to meet all the new people and just get to know different people and that kind of stuff. And I don't know. It's been a great time. I have great friends out here and great community. And I still go back up to Evergreen a couple, once or twice a month, see all them. But like, I love it here.
Oh yeah. That's awesome, Blake.
Thanks.
Do you have a preferred style or technique that you like? I know you do the flowers. Is there a special technique to that you like a lot, or?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and that's kind of where it gets most people. So with the flowers that I do, it's a hollow implosion with an added, like, you like pop it off before it gets too thick and then kind of do a solid implosion. And so it's not a full hollow implosion and it's not a full solid implosion, but it's like start off hollow, finish solid. And it's definitely, and that's the way Ryan Kuhn taught it to me. It's just kind of, and that's in, I forget which, it's like contemporary glass blowing book too. It's one of the techniques for how to make a flower. Regardless, like for me, it just gives me like, I don't know, like I can look, you fall into a way and it's like, this is just the way I like to do it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I appreciate it. And I've learned to find the beauty in it in a weird way. Like I love what solid implosions can do and I love what hollow implosions can do, but I love when you mix them together even more.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I don't know. If I had to pick any technique or like any sort of like thing to just stick with for the rest of my career, it'd definitely be that, it's what I've much devoted my career to as it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've ventured into a lot of other things, especially recently, been trying to pick up much new stuff, but like that, it's just a beautiful technique to watch happen. And it's just fun, and
it absolutely is. I'm when I met you, I think I was 16 years and, it's in contemporary lampworking. I have the book and I didn't read it. And just to watch you do it was just mind blowing. Like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah. Well, it's in book 2 because most people get through book 1 and they're like, yeah, because I wouldn't even have known because I didn't even get through book 1.
Yeah.
And that's where Ryan was like, yo, in book 2, they have a great explanation for all this. And so I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. That's really cool.
So,
Have you had periods in your career where you shifted your focus entirely into a different technique? I know you mostly done flowers, but it sounds like maybe right now might be that time for you.
Right now, so the way that I've kind of been doing it recently is like the flowers, don't get me wrong, I love them. But like I'm kind of, they're more of an income to fuel these bigger like wall art pieces that I'm trying to make, mixed with like wood and a bunch of different glass and stuff like that. And so within like 6 months or like 5 months to a year from now, I'm going to try and do a show, hopefully once the pandemic's over, with just like a huge installation. And if I can, I'll try and take it to a few different cities, and like bring it from like Denver, East Coast, West Coast type deal, and just have like huge installations on pieces. We'll see what happens. But that's kind of like where I'm trying to shift towards, is like, and they all, kind of include the flowers and that kind of stuff. So it's not really straying that far away, but like, it's just being able to not just make jewelry and like cups and that kind of stuff. I just want to be able to like make stuff that like, you can also hang on a wall or like sit on a, shelf or something like that and just looks beautiful, And I have there'll probably be a couple functional pieces in there and that kind of stuff with certain collabs, but like I just, I love glass and I love, the beauty of it. And I just think that the more ways that, I can attempt to get that out there is fun, to test myself in different ways.
Yeah. You mentioned mixing it with wood. Have you done woodworking before? Do you love it?
So when I first moved to Colorado, I've always enjoyed art. Glass was never like, I never knew I was going to be an artist. It was always like, geared more towards business at first. And I have like 30 pieces where I just would like take a Dremel and like do different wood burnings and all these different things with wood just because I needed an outlet for creativity. Okay. And I mean, it's just kind of always how it's been, like always in art classes in school. And so once I got out, I was like, oh, I need to do something, and wood was kind of the thing I went to. And then like, kind of switched out once I moved into apartments and that kind of stuff. It was a little bit harder to, with all the dust and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so then like, it's just been nice to be able to get back into it. Granted, my tools are a little old. I just broke my Dremel yesterday, but we're figuring it out. It's, like riding a bike, takes a second, but I know how to do most things in wood. Thankfully, my dad's always been big on the woods, like he works at Ace Hardware and loves making different things and has always taught me different stuff. So
hell yeah, that's awesome, man.
Nice to implement that.
Working with wood, the smell, I mean, it's got to be wonderful because glass has no smell.
It is nice. It's a little bit different in a way that like I'm so used to glass at this point, that like something will happen. I'm like, oh, I can't just do that. But it also is more forgiving in other ways, and it's just like kind of finding, it's just a completely different medium. It's fun. Yeah. But I can't get too sucked into it because then I'll completely forget about glass. So yeah.
So when you fall into something, you let it consume you.
For the most part. Yeah. I'm big on that. Yeah. Yeah. I like when you start something, finish it, and see it through to the end if you can.
Hell yeah. What's your favorite color to work with?
Ooh, I don't know. There's a bunch of different things.
And the palette is always growing now.
It is, dude. As weird as it sounds, in terms of transparency, I think serum's one of my favorites. It's just buttery. Mm-hmm. And it just works. It's like clear. I mean, it's just, you can do anything with it. And it's wonderful. In terms of opaques, I like Aqua Azul a bunch. I mean, it's almost cliche to say, but like, it's fun. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's a gorgeous color to begin with, but it works well. Yep. And it's not too stiff. It's not too fluid. It kind of works how you think an opaque would. Like, yeah.
Actually, I've been using it a lot myself because you're right. I think the color is a beautiful color.
It's gorgeous, man. It's hard not to like it. Like I find myself being like, oh, this one. I'm like, no, just did 4 pieces that color.
Yep. Hell yeah. Is there a color that you don't like?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of colors that we just don't use. The first one that comes to mind is Bibbidi Bobbidi Blue.
Oh yeah.
It's a beautiful color, but it's mean. It's not a fun color.
It cracks, right? From what
it cracks, it bubbles. It does everything wrong.
So questions, why do they even make it? Why do they sell it to us?
I don't know. And it's annoying too because Boro Bars and Tag have a color that's very similar that's way more workable. And it's like, but if people buy it, then, whatever. Like it's capitalism. I bet it's cheap for them to make. Like,
yeah, I guess that's
but I bet they throw chromium in there or something. That's why it pops. But that's also why it also looks so good.
Yeah.
But whatever.
What's the most difficult piece you've ever attempted?
Oh. Recently I've been doing some pretty different things. The most difficult that I've ever done with somebody was, the one that comes to mind though is a big mask piece that I made with Clinton Roman.
Oh wow.
And it was a wall piece, probably a little over a foot and a half long, something like that. And at one point, in the shipping from coming back from bringing it to Oregon to Colorado, or not shipping because it was with me in the car. And I was bringing it to the person who was buying it here in Denver. Somehow a piece broke off and it wasn't that big of a deal at all. It was an easy, just just an attachment that popped off and I had to fix that. And there's this sense of calmness and confidence when you're around Clinton Roman, but you just don't have when you're not around Clinton Roman. Fixing that piece. And I was just oh, and I haven't shaken, shook, whatever the word is, that hard holding a piece, trying to just do one simple attachment in my career. That was, I don't know why. I was holding it against the table, still shaking. Well,
because one small error, whether anything, in the whole piece, all in your hands.
There was that, and it was already sold. There was a bunch. I was like, man, this is not fun. A used car in my hand.
But you did it. You made it work, and it happened.
I made it work, and it was a struggle. But we made it happen, and that was a big learning experience where you just got to breathe,
mm-hmm.
Chill out.
And you need those experiences to learn those things. So hell yeah, that's good. You experience that.
Yeah.
Do you collaborate often? It sounds like you do.
I used to a lot more than I have recently. I like to. But that was kind of one of the things, when I lived up in Evergreen, it was hard not to take advantage of the experience with all the different artists that were constantly rolling through. But recently, and I work with different people, I try and work with friends, especially right now, just because I'm working on a bunch of different techniques that I'm not 100% confident in. Mm-hmm. And so I don't want to take somebody else's work and be like, yo, I can put it into this piece and then it break.
Right.
And because it's happened to me before, and you don't hate anybody, it's glass, it breaks, but it is upsetting.
Absolutely.
And if it happens on, if I break my glass, no big deal. But and I still shake holding these big pieces that I'm trying to do right now and that kind of stuff. And I hadn't really been posting any of them, but I shake holding I can only imagine how bad I'd shake holding somebody else's things going, I don't really know how to do this. And a lot of them I don't. And it's just kind of sending it. And it's if this works, it works. If not, I know kind of enough to be able to fix it.
Right.
And so that's kind of where we've been at recently. And it's been fun. I love working with different people, and it's kind of nice going back and working with the people because I work with so many people. I've been very fortunate of that.
Yeah.
that I'm going back and working with all the people I kind of worked with at the beginning and just kind of like doing it over again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Not like doing too many at 1 p.m. Just like, all right, you know, and like, I don't know. It's been fun. It's been a good time hanging out with the different people that have, you know, watched me grow. More I've watched them grow as artists too. It's been an awesome time, you know.
Right. So you do a collab now with somebody you did 2 years ago. It's both of you are just far advanced.
Exactly. It's a fun time because it's like, what should we do? You know, earlier we had limitations. Now there's not that many, you know, like.
That's cool.
That's kind of been the goal recently is like, and that's why I'm so fortunate that people support buying the sunflowers and that kind of stuff and I can afford to spend this time just going like, I don't know what I'm doing, but like, I'm going to learn in that stuff and figuring it out. And it's been fun. And it's very frustrating at times, but it's been very rewarding as well. So like, I can't complain. It's been awesome, you know, especially, you know, having the ability to do so. So,
yeah. Have you ever competed in any events?
Once.
Okay. Did you enjoy it?
Did I what?
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was a good time. It was like a charity chili cook-off at DBK in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, I got to do one of those too.
It was fun. And it was cool, but like I don't make functionals. And so when they asked me to do it, my initial thought was, and I responded, can I do a collab with somebody? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, there were rules, but like there was no rules to say you couldn't do a collab. And so like I found, you know, my buddy Evan, Bear Mountain Studios, you know, placed myself in a good position. We're just like, yo, you want to do a collab? Like,
right.
And so within 2 hours, I just made 2 pretty cool dot flowers and stuff like that. And he made a badass little recycler and just attached them on there. And we ended up winning the competition, which was awesome. But then a bunch of people got mad because they're like, you didn't tell us we could do collabs. And it was like, well, they didn't tell you couldn't do collabs. Like, but still, I, you know, let him get the prize and everything and let him go because people were just, it was a charity thing. And what, you know, glad we won. You know what I'm saying? I did what I wanted to do. I won. You know what I'm saying? Word. So it wasn't, I didn't need a trophy. It was a good time.
And sometimes the rules, you know, that's kind of where competitions are, is you got to look at the rules, and sometimes they're created so you can, that's the trick, is you find things around it. So
you manipulate them in your own way. And that's why I asked them, they sent the rules and I go, yo, is it okay if I do a collab? I don't think rules about that. And they go, we don't see why not. And then, but just a couple different people were not okay with it that were like a part of the competition, like competitors. And
because they didn't think about it.
No, exactly. And it was just like, sorry, man. Like, you know, like, it was whatever, you know, and it was a great time. It was a great experience and pushed me to, because I always go slow. I'm not a fast glass blower. So it was like, you know, kind of weird, like trying to push myself to finish these 2 things fast. Like, it was fun. It was a good time.
Do you consume yourself? Cannabis.
Marijuana?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you prefer a flower or dabs or a mixture, or do you?
Mainly just flower. I used to do dabs and it just kind of felt like it was a waste, you know, like
I hear that over and over.
Constantly. And so like a couple of years ago, I was, you know, just went back to, I just feel like a normal person again. You actually can get like high, which is awesome. Cause like when you do dabs, you're just kind of at like a level of weirdly stoned, but like, I don't know, like I enjoy, you know, smoking sometimes, you know, at the morning and that kind of stuff, but like, especially at the end of the day, like smoking and actually getting high, you know, which is appreciated. And I, you know, I just slowed down a bunch and also done flower recently, and it's wonderful.
I agree.
Self-discipline's a good thing.
Do you use any of your own pieces, or do you use other people's pieces?
So I collected a bunch of glass back in the day. Right now I mainly just use at my house, I use an unparalleled glass like cactus bong. All right. Which I love. He makes some cool ones. And then I have like a matte glass tube and a 2-stroke tube for dabs that if I'm ever trying to like dab and that kind of stuff. And then at the studio, I have a big like Stephen Pierce bong, which I love. He's a homie.
Yeah.
And so I've got a bunch of glass, especially stashed away in boxes from the gallery and that kind of stuff that I'll pull out random and be like, oh crap, I forgot I had this. And like, beautiful piece of glass. And like, at this point, I just keep them in there for safety.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mainly use the unparalleled cactus bong. It's probably my favorite piece. And I'm going to be making some pieces with him soon in the next like 3 or 4 months, which I'm excited about because he was the first glass blower I ever saw blow glass.
Oh, that's cool. That's got to be a nice, like, back to full circle.
Yeah, dude, for me, it's like, fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, I idolized him at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, wow, like, it was incredible. And so, like, for it to come, where are we at? This would be 7 years ago now. It's just like, this is awesome. like, so
yeah,
Kai is a great guy. Nothing but love for that man.
Do you still find you have the same love and passion as when you first started?
It's probably grown even more.
Hell yeah.
There's more stuff that I know. And like, at first, I don't know. I have a problem. It's probably why I'm single. I spend a lot of time at the studio and I love it, man. It's my torch is my girl. I mean, it's a beautiful art form and there's so much to learn.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that the best way I've been told or explained glass blowing is it's a video game that you're constantly beating levels to, but you never win. Mm-hmm. And so it's like you constantly wanting to play more and more. And I don't really play them. And that's kind of why I don't play them, because I'll just sit there for like 6 hours in a day and just like waste a day playing video games. But like glass blowing, I can do that and get paid. And it's just one of those things. I guess it's a sort of competitiveness or whatever, but like, it's just fun to do. And like, I don't know, man, like you watch all these other extremely talented people around you and you're like, man, this is, I want to be able to do all this stuff. So, and I don't know, it's fun.
It's a competitiveness. You're obviously, I would say an alpha because you're going out there. You created your own business at 19. You're doing what you want to do. So, yeah.
I guess so. I never thought about it that way, but I definitely do what I enjoy doing. I love my friends and would do anything for them. But, it's kind of what I'm doing. You're right.
Hell yeah, man.
I'm not, if I have a goal that needs met, there's not much standing in my way to let that get done. I guess the best way to say it.
You're going over, under, around, or through that thing, but you're going.
Exactly. I'll figure out a way.
I love it.
Might not even, come out at the end the way I thought I would, but I might get there.
Hell yeah. Was there anything else you'd like to add to let your fans know about you or anything? What's coming up?
Not much. I mean, I mentioned this show that's going to be coming up in like 6 months, 2 years, depending on like how much time I can do. I got some things I'm going to have to go take care of back home. Some different family things that I'm going to need to spend a couple weeks on during the summer and different things like that. And, but it should be in the next like 6 months to a year. And I'm really excited about that. But other than that, I don't have much to say. How you been, man? I talked about you much. It's been all about me.
Well, this ain't about me. This is all about you.
Yeah, but I hadn't seen you in a while, man.
Yeah, everything's going good down here. The pandemic's crazy. It's bumped up our sales, which is good. Always puts a lot of pressure, and we started these Elevated 8s, and this is what's super awesome. I get like you. I'm in my studio, and I only get to work on the weekends, and like so I never get to meet blowers, and so like this is a way for me to do it. So I'm excited.
This is fun. I've had a great time. This is a good time.
Hell yeah, man! I
appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, and I want to put out there, everybody should go follow Glass by Blake. It's your stuff is freaking amazing, and I was humbled when I met you. You were maybe a 5-year glass blower, and blown away how great you were. You were at.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a wonderful journey, and it only just started. Excited to see where it takes me, and Lord only knows what that'll be.
Well, I can't wait to see what happens.
I never would have guessed I'd be here at 18.
No doubt. Well, all right, Blake.
I'm very appreciative. I love your clock too, by the way. I think it's awesome. Clock? Yeah, I think it's wonderful.
Oh, dude, that was my employees. My staff gave that to me about 2 Christmases. Wow. They all signed it, and yeah, man, it was so like I get to put it up here and share it, and
that's
do
awesome.
That shit. So
I think it's cool as could be. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's all signed by him and everything. So
awesome. Yeah, y'all got a fun crew down there. I love coming and hang out. That was a good time.
Well, you're always welcome, and you know what? I didn't want to put it out there, but when you have your installation, man, I'd love you to come down and display it down here for a day. If you can, I understand, but
I'll see what we can do. I'd love to make that happen, man. I'll definitely, I need to get it all together and see how it's to like transport, but I mean, that'd be incredible. I'd love to do that. I'll definitely hit you up about that in the future. Thank you.
Yeah. I love seeing your work, and you've really inspired me. I wish you could see my little pet marbles I've been making flowers. They're inspired by you.
Awesome.
So.
I want to see them. Shoot me a picture.
I will, man. I will. So
awesome.
All right, Blake. Well, we'll talk to you another time. And it was a pleasure here having you. And everybody follow Glass by Blake.
Thank you so much.
All right. Later.
Honored to be here.
All right. Well, that was amazing. Glass by Blake, his glass is amazing, and this new project he's working on, man, I can't wait to see it. That just sounds really cool. Glass, wood, they go together well. I want to put something else out there. We have this really cool thing called Elev8 Veterans. It's our 501c3 where we help rehabilitate and reacclimate veterans into society with glass blowing classes and consumption things. As well as we need some help. We need some help. We have this cool thing called Elev8 Dolls. It's our brand ambassador program. But what I really love about our Elev8 Dolls is the program that we do for Elevate Wings and Elevate Yourself. Elevate Your Wings helps expand our Elevate lifestyle, but I promise it puts a wonderful smile on another woman. Elevate Yourself helps show like other shops that you love and gets them exposure as well. It's all about exposure. Elevate mind, body, spirit, and stay real, y'all.